Good afternoon, good morning or good evening, wherever and whenever you're watching this video, and welcome to another Emaran Plays. And today it's time for day 2 of our reality challenge on Farming Simulator 19. And when we finished off yesterday, we'd done a full day's work out in the field, and we'd pulled up down at the petrol station, down at the gas station there, and we were just going to use the remainder of the day's play to add some information to the spreadsheet, and that's exactly what we'd done. So the first piece of information we added in was that we figured each worker minute had cost us $2, and the next thing we did is a bunch of contracts had appeared over the course of the day to allow us to add in new information to these fields here. So the size of the field, and then we already know the cost of the field, and then we're able to work that down to a cost per acre. So we're about 2/3 of the way through filling out all these now, and once we've got all the fields, we can just take it all, sort it by dollars per acre, and then start to work out where we might like to place our first farm. Some of these will be just field, and some will be a bit more substantial. A lot of them came in that same $30,000 per acre range. One thing that was slightly disappointing, well, I shouldn't say disappointing because we don't want any preconceived ideas, but if I bring up the map here, I had previously mentioned that possibly field 11 was somewhere where I might be looking to start. Just got a bit of extra land around, and it's fairly well located to these other fields. But if we look at the spreadsheet, field 11 actually came in at $64,000 per acre of the field. So that number is not going to be the only thing we use to determine where we start. There's a few other factors that we need to look at, but it's not really on the base but competitive with some of these other fields. So that's just one interesting thing that I noticed. We also jotted down that at the end of the day one, we checked how much fuel and how much maintenance it had cost us. So the Lizard pickup 2014, which cost us $45,000 to buy, had cost us $2 in fuel for the 3 working hours we'd done, and $3 in maintenance for the 3 working hours we'd done. I did at around 10 to 10:30 last night in game take a quick run down to the store again, just to get the details on the machinery that we used yesterday. So this is just a job log that I'm going to keep. Yesterday we harvested oats, 12.62 acres. They offered us $7,659, and we took away $2,043 because we leased the equipment. And the equipment that we used was a semi with a 59,000 litre trailer and the New Holland CR1090 harvester with the 13.7 metre header. That job took us 53 real world minutes. It paid us $5,617. We got a bonus, $753 in extra harvest, which meant we got paid $6,370. And when we take that into account, that took us 53 minutes, we whittled that down to $120 per real world minute. Now, we don't know whether that's good, bad, ugly. We just don't know, but it's just a number that we have for now. And the reason why I took down specifically the equipment is because I have a hunch, and right now it is just a hunch, but if we look at these contracts, some for the same type of job offer different equipment. So let's say this one here has got different equipment, this one here has got different, they're all harvesting different equipment. I think some of them are going to end up being a better sort of return than others based on the equipment. See, that's the same equipment set that we used yesterday. If some of them have really big equipment, I think they're going to give a better return. So we may end up prioritizing those ones. So today, day 2, I want to do a full day's contracting. I really want to get as much done today, get as much information, bring in as much dollars as we can. So yesterday, we parked up at the end of the field, and 7 a.m. now, we can now start our engine and get back to fertilizing this field. So we've done one run down. I can't really see Oh yes, I can. There's still discoloration of where we've been, so that's good. But on the contract screen, it is actually showing, if we go to the top, our active contract, that we are 17% done. So start of the engine, and let's get underway. Oh, my reversing has not improved at all. Now this obviously has the skinny tyres on it. Jackknifed it again, so that we're not damaging the crop. And we now know that this piece of machinery, this weeder, unfurls really, really wide. So I'll just back it up. Oh, that wasn't too bad. And we'll unfold it. So I'll get this started, I'll get this heading down to the other side. It's a really big field here, 29 acres or something similar to that. But if one pass was 17%, it's really only going to take us 5 passes to get this completed, which isn't the end of the world. And I did note down, that yesterday afternoon we had done 10 minutes real world work when we flicked the engine off and called it a day. Oh man, I've already wasted 10 minutes of our working day here. I just want to go straight back. Can we do straight back? Sort of. Alright, let's get it started. We'll turn the sprayer on. A little bit of overspray here, obviously. This is not the best. I have missed a small section there, but you don't need to get to 100%. And I'll just ease it over to try and minimize the overlap, but I also don't want to miss a stretch, because that'll cost us time. Alright, relatively happy with that. Put the cruise control on for a moment. Alright, we'll just go back to the spreadsheet and finish off what we'd gathered here. Done that one. And what I also took note of is the job that we did was oats, 12.62 acres equaled 39,000 units. But one thing that I don't know is what percentage yield are the MPC crops at, because a field you can yield anything from 65% of a crop up to 165%. So down to 65 if you don't weed it, if you don't fertilize it, if you don't use lime, up to 165% yield if you have used lime, if you have two-stage fertilizer, if you do keep the weeds out of it. So what percentage yield are the MPC crops at? Because that's going to show a difference in how many units get harvested out of it. Just check, yep, so we've gone off track there. By the looks of it, oop, too much, wow. Goodness me. Possibly the worst farmer in the world. Alright, back up that way, something like that. Cruise control back on. And the last thing that I did is I started to take down the prices that are available to sell all the various goods. So right now we have no context about what's a good price to sell at. We just know what we could in theory sell at today, but we don't know whether that's a low price or high price. Some of the items, if they've got a up or down arrow, we can tell if they're trending up or down, but it's still not a complete picture of what's good value. So I will pretty this up later. I just took this down obviously between 8 p.m. at night and midnight I was working on this. So let's say wheat, the baker is offering $299 per 1,000 litres, Harbour $349, the transport company $315. I got through about half of these. It got to midnight, so in game I shut the laptop off, waited until time had gotten through till 6 a.m. and then some of these at the bottom are actually the morning price around the 6 a.m. when we woke up from our mandatory 6 hours sleep. I'll just quickly check back in here. Whoa, we've gone off the end of the field. Turn the sprayer off, we're wasting spray, that's why you don't multitask. Are we getting an effect of where it looks like we've sprayed and where it looks like we haven't sprayed? Yep, that looks like the edge of it just there. So again, I'll come round and try to spray over the edge a little, but not too much. Something like that. Alright, turn the sprayer back on, hook it around the corner. So I've used about 1200 litres of our spray. We put 6,000 in and we're around 35–40% of the way through, so we are going to have spray left over or something like that. I'll put the cruise control back on. So yeah, these are just single data points. Some of these from the night, some of these from the morning. It doesn't matter. We'll just collate them over time, and 10, 15, 20, 30 price points down the track. We'll know what an average price is, and we'll know what the high price that we've seen, and we'll know the low price that we've seen. So when we harvest a field off on our own field, we'll know whether it's the price that's being offered is a good price and we should just sell, or whether it should be put into storage to wait for a better price down the line. So that's the information that we gathered. When we started up today, you saw it was 6:35 in the morning, so I'd taken those last few data points there. We grabbed ourselves a coffee and a bacon and egg roll or three at the petrol station, gas station, and we'd headed to the shop, and that's where we started our day. So that's the information that we gathered in our downtime last night. It's all about information gathering at the moment, because this is the first time I've played any of the farming simulator games, and being a little bit analytically minded, I don't just want to rush off and purchase equipment and things like that, purchase fuels and just get started. Certain save games I'm more than happy to do that, but for this realism experiment, I really want to feel like we're making informed decisions. There are going to be times when we need to take an absolute leap of faith and just hope that things work out, but we'll try and keep those to a minimum, try and do the best we can. So we get to the end of the run here, swing around again, turn the sprayer off at the end to try and reduce the overflow. I need to take wider turns, that's one thing that I do need to do. Try and go straight-ish back. Oh, that wasn't the worst I've ever done. Not 100% convinced if I was a farmer and I'd paid me to fertilise this field, whether I'd be 100% happy. If I was watching, I'd be horrified, but hopefully we do a good enough job to get this contract finished. Yeah, that's bogging down because I've obviously jackknifed it. Alright, turn the sprayer back on. Fix around, hopefully that didn't miss too much. We're way... Wow, this is very wobbly, very bumpy. I do need to do something about the steering here because it's just way too responsive. There's no middle ground, so that's something that I might have a play with a little later on, because the steering is way too responsive. Alright, chuck the cruise control on again, and how are we doing? 53%. 53% done. Come over this way a bit. We're missing a little patch there. Don't need to do it absolutely 100% to complete the contract, but I do need to get used to operating the machinery in an efficient manner, because once we get onto our own fields, something like that will probably reduce the yield a bit because a part of the field wasn't fertilised. Alright, so speaking of settings with the steering there, between video 1 and 2, I did just change a few settings and a few things here. Never recorded before, so still getting used to it. I've shifted the position of my mic, shifted the position of the mouse to try and possibly get rid of some static and some of the background noises. Someone did comment about the draw distance that we were experiencing in the video, and I agreed. That was something that I noticed as well. My computer, I would have thought, should be able to run this game. So the visible draw distance was, oh, don't run into that tree, was a bit jarring. So I've put all the visual settings to max. The maximum that they will go, draw distance, quality, everything is all at, oh, hit the tree. It's all at the max. It mostly was, but I'm just going to pull that in because otherwise I'm going to damage it. It was at the high manual setting, but I manually changed every slider to the maximum it can go to, and I can still see a draw distance there. I can still see a very clear circle around the tractor that's got the crop graphic, and then some that doesn't. So there's our mark there. Come around here and unfold it. And I also just upped the volume a little bit. Just felt like there wasn't quite enough engine noise, environment noise in the first video, so I've just upped that 1 notch as well, and we'll see how that goes. Now, something that I haven't done here, I didn't note the real world time when I started spraying. So when we finish this contract, I'm just going to pause the recording and I'll go and check the recording to see when we started and then how many minutes in the recorded video it took to reach that point, and then we'll know how many minutes this job took us. It's a little bit of a mistake on my part, but not unsalvageable. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's only for information gathering. It's not the end of the world. But we have been on the field for an hour already in game time, so you can see how you really do have to optimize your time, work out what you're doing. I'm, clearly not doing this field efficiently. But oops, cruise control. But yeah, we will improve. One thing that I do want to do while I've just got this on cruise control, that I'm a bit annoyed that I didn't do in the first video, is give a massive shout out to the streamer and his community who first came up with the realism challenge. I do not want people to think that I'm claiming any of this as my own. That's certainly not the case. So there's a YouTube streamer that goes by Virtual Farmer, capital V, capital F, and it was he and his community that came up with the original sort of groundwork or rule sets for the realism experiment. They did it in Farming Simulator 17, possibly also in 15, I'm not 100% sure on that. But it was them who came up with the initial document that we used here, this original set of rules. If I give them credit for this, I can also give them credit for the spelling mistake. I don't have to take that. I will adapt these, articulate them a little bit in more detail, and I will probably end up adding to it over time as well as I think of some other things, but not my rule set, not my idea don't want to lay claim to that at all. Wow, are we way off that mark? So that was definitely a YouTube streamer who goes by Virtual Farmer. Seems to be a really nice guy, high energy, very active, really engages with his community. So if you're at all interested in what's going on here with the farming and you want to see an actual pro at work, I can't recommend his stream highly enough. He's always got multiple farms at any given time. That he might have his realism one, and then a big farm, and then a farm where they focus on specific manufacturer's gear or specific crop types, or some role-playing ones where he joins up with other streamers and they role-play. I know there's a contracting one that they do. So always got lots going on, always really high quality, really high energy. Seems like a genuinely nice guy, and really engages with his community there. So that's Virtual Farmer on YouTube. I can't recommend checking out him enough, and I feel a bit better having given that shout out, because when I realised after video 1 that I hadn't done that, I was a bit annoyed with myself. So I can feel a little bit better about it now. I really can't tell as much as I might like where I haven't been here. It's making 83% through, so I must be going all right. Mustn't be missing too much. And we're just coming down to having used half of the fertilizer that we put in, so definitely get through it, and we will get reimbursed with the fertilising contract. We bought the liquid fertiliser that went in. We put in 3 2,000 litre pallets for 6,000 litres total. It cost us $2,400 each, so $7,200 in total. So I would assume, let's just say it were to finish off right now, that we would get about $3,600 returned to us once we completed the contract, because this is leased equipment. So we'll be giving the equipment back. I'm just going to stop it there. Don't hit the tree. I've hit a bush. I know, I hit the tree after I told myself not to. I'm going to come around here, get through between these trees, and I'm hoping that one more pass might complete us off. It will pop up once we've completed. Oh, bang that tree too. It will pop up and tell us once we've done 100%. So at that point we just turn the sprayer straight off, because we need to manually complete the contract by clicking complete. So we don't want to waste any extra spray. Not that it's possible for me to waste any more than I currently am. It's a nice bit of gear, this. So same as we did with the harvesting contract yesterday, at some point when I'm at the store I will just jump in and see how much to purchase these pieces of equipment, just for information gathering, because this sprayer is seriously wide. So I mean, I was feeling a little bit daunted by the fact that this was a 29-acre field, and yet this weeder's really going to do it in 5 or 6 passes, really, which makes it a pretty nice piece of kit to own. And it's just a trailer one. It's just hooked to the back of the tractor. So I'm sort of hoping that it won't be ridiculously expensive, and it might be something that we can pick up in the future, because I do need to start making a list of equipment that we will need, 92%, that we will need once we take that plunge and get our own piece of land and start doing our own farming, which is obviously the goal. We could have jumped in and done it straight away, and we will do it, definitely for sure. We're not going to contract for the rest of our life, but just doing it this way for a little while. Oh, that actually wasn't a bad reversing job. I'll take that. There's our line, there it is. So I reckon one more pass is going to do us here. Let's move it over here so there's not quite so much overlap. Wonder if it's just this particular crop or this particular map, or maybe a brightness setting that's determining you know, how visible that overlap is, because I wouldn't say it's incredibly visible, but maybe that's just the way it is. Maybe that's how it is in real life. You shouldn't I know that's why farmers do use GPS, because the GPS will just tell them where they need to line up at the top of each run. So there was a mod in 2017 Farming Simulator for GPS. I'm not sure that I'd use it, because contrary to what most people might think, making these mistakes is good. It's realistic. I'm learning. I am, in theory, being punished a little bit for my lack of skill, and that gives me the impetus to try and improve. Swing around there and then turn it off again. Didn't get it done on that pass. Must be close, I would have thought. Where's our line? There it is. So we're just down to the bottom corner of it here, and we're at 98%. So we'll just get this on. Probably should have just started out in the middle of the field there instead of wasting it over the edge. So another lesson learned. And any moment now we should get a pop-up saying that our job's done at about 9 o'clock in the morning. So we can work through from 7 AM through until 8 PM on the fields. There we go, contract on field 29 finished. So what I'm going to do is just pause the recording for a second, jump back and see what time, real time, we started on the field. And then I can work out how long in real time it took us to complete that contract. Okay, so 17 real life minutes today. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold this up and head back down to the shop. So 10 minutes real time yesterday to do that first pass, and another 17 minutes today. We'll run this down to the shop, and then that'll be, oops, one more fold to go. Alright, and then that'll be our real world working time for the fertilising job here. So the shop's back around this way, I believe. So I had a comment, or I guess a question, about the teleporting. What are we going to do for teleporting for our realism challenge? Because I don't think I articulated it very well in video number 1. So the rules state that you can teleport until the follow me mod is in there, has been made. So the follow me mod, if you had 2 pieces of equipment like we did yesterday, we had a harvester and a semi, you jump in one piece of equipment and you put a worker in the second piece of equipment, and they will follow you to wherever you're going. So they'll follow you to the field, follow you back to the farm, and you essentially trade time of you not having to drive both pieces of equipment for money, because you need to pay the worker for the time that it takes them to drive. And that's the perfect trade-off, that's the perfect exchange. But that's not available in the base game. So I think in the original video I said I was not going to teleport except for the first time. So what I meant by that was I'm not going to teleport to the shop except for the first time. So because we didn't have a vehicle, we teleported to the shop and we bought our pickup. But how are we going to handle, so this video's been going for 2 minutes, so we'll call that 29 minutes to complete that contract while I just finish what I need to say here. So how are we going to handle teleporting around the map? And I thought about it, and really yesterday with that contract I could have taken the harvester up to the field, I could have run back, I could have taken the semi up to the field, and then at the end of the day I could have taken one piece of equipment back, run back to the field, bring the second piece of equipment back. But I thought about that, and we're trying to find the balance between realism and challenge, but also fun, you know, and some of those things aren't fun to do, and they're definitely not fun to watch on a video. So what I think I'm going to do is allow teleporting between vehicles in situations like that, but not teleporting to the shop. Must drive to the shop if I need to check that out. And what I should have done yesterday in the first harvesting contract was after I tipped the oats, I completed the contract, which got rid of the 2 pieces of equipment and teleported me back to the shop. What I should have done was driven the semi from the tip point at the harbour back to the shop, teleported over to the harvester, brought that from the field back to the shop, and then ended the contract. So that's how I should have done it. I think that's where the balance between fun and realism is for me. It means that the per minute dollar value that we have for harvesting is actually a little bit high, because it would have taken me another 5-7 minutes to finish that contract off. But that's just one single data point, so it's not the end of the world. Over time, with more harvesting jobs, it'll correct itself and arrive at an average that we can expect. So let's complete this contract off. Before I do that, I just need to just grab the details of these pieces of equipment. So the Fend 716 Vario, because again, I just like to know the details of these equipment, how much they cost, and things like that. So I think it's G to change tool, is it? No. Maybe if I jump out. Does it tell me? No. If I unhitch it, I'm pretty sure it will. How do I unhitch it? I don't know. Why is it not letting me change tool? I turn train off. I turn tab to train off because I don't, it's annoying to get the train every time you cycle around. Why can I not unhook that? Because it's leased gear, maybe? Alright, it's a Hardy Navigator 6000. That's what we'll put down. That should be enough for us to locate it in the store anyway. So I'm going to complete this contract off now. What I didn't do while I was away checking that video is pause the game. So we lost a little bit of time there, unfortunately. That's my fault. So they offered us $17,465. The leased equipment cost us $4,835. We're getting reimbursed $2,564 for the fertilizer that went unused. So it cost us $7,200 for that, but we're getting reimbursed $2,564 because there's still, if we jump in here, there's still 2,250 units left in the sprayer. So in total, $15,194. Now we need to take 7,200 away from that because we did pay for the fertilizer ourselves. So it's 7,994. net profit for 27 minutes work, real life minutes. So I think that's right. Let me just think about it. The lease costs comes off. We got reimbursed, but we paid $7,200 out of our own pocket, which that's. So I believe that's correct. So let's complete that. And there we go, 15,000 in there. Yeah, we were at about 460 when we started, so yeah, net of about 8,000 is right. So it's not scientific, it's only single data points, but if we look here, at the job log, we made 6,370 for the harvesting job in 53 minutes. For the fertilising, we've made $7,994 for 27 minutes. So where I come from, that's the better of the two jobs. So like I say, it's just a single data point. We will sort of get it over time, get those down to averages, but it does look like the fertilising is, a pretty good way to go about it. And I think it's largely because of that, just the sheer width of that sprayer. So I know I'm wasting a little bit of time here, but I am really interested to see how much this equipment costs. So the Fent 716 is not there, so it's not a small tractor. Is it a medium tractor? Fent 700. So it's a large tractor. Didn't seem large to me, but okay. Fent 900. That's weird. So it's a 716, whereas this was a 7. Actually, I wonder if you give it the horsepower boost, if it becomes a 7. Oh no, engine setup 716 Vario. There you go. So it's 180,000 for that tractor. Does it come in black? Nope. Boo. So 716 in that format. You can change some things here because I know it had the skinny tires on. There you go. So for the crop protection, so that'd be an extra $1,000. You'd want the front attachment probably, so you can put a bucket or forks on it, things like that. I think you can get a horsepower boost. There you go. A little bit more horsepower, a little bit more again. So that's what it was. 180,000 for that. And the thing that I'm really interested in is that sprayer, which actually looks like that one right there. So it was the Hardy Navigator 6000. So it's going to be a big one. There it is right there. That doesn't come in black either. So 115,000 for that sprayer, and it has a working width of 36 meters, and it felt all of that 36 meters for sure. So 115,000 to buy. The number that I'm really actually interested in is actually the lease price, because it's going to cost $2,300 just to start the lease, $5,750 a day, per hour, and then an additional 1,000. So I'm really interested to see how that stacks up, because if fertilizing is going to be one of the better contracting jobs to do, we could have got potentially additional money on top of it by not leasing the equipment from the farm, by having it ourselves. So that'll be interesting to see how that stacks up. And if it takes herbicide, which it does, so it's fertilizer and then herbicide, it's a good thing to have on your farm as well, because it knocks over two jobs itself. It fertilizes your own crops, and it can put herbicide on your own crops, which is how you get rid of weeds in the advanced growing stage. And we drove this on a field. It's got the skinny tires. We know it doesn't damage crops in the advanced stage. So yeah, I really feel like this is, or one of these. See, that's 36 meters as well, and is cheaper, but it's got a smaller tank. But I really feel like one of these is something that you're going to want to pick up in your initial set of equipment. So that's good to know. So I want to carry on, I want to get cracking again, and let's have a look for another contract. We're going to do something else, something that we haven't done yet. We're going to look for the biggest numbers we can, just to get some good data. I feel like the bigger jobs will be a good starting point. So that's the biggest contract right now. That's back at field 13, where we were before. So sow field 13 with potatoes. So this is a bit different. Potatoes and sugar beets are root crops. So they use slightly different equipment to go through the process. So slightly different for sowing, slightly different for harvesting. I think they come in narrower widths, so they're a bit more time consuming. So this again is the 12.62 acres. One piece of data that I didn't put down that I should is on that fertilizing contract. We filled it up with 6,000 litres. We had 2,250 litres left, and that's what it took. Well, it didn't really take because it stopped us early, so we're not going to have a good indication of how many litres it took to fertilise per acre. So that might be something you have to work out on our own fields where we're doing 100% coverage, or maybe on a smaller field, a smaller contract. After the contract finishes off, we can just finish the field out so that we can sort of know how many litres per acre when we fertilise. But let's do this large sowing one. Just the two pieces of equipment, which is good. So 22,571. It's only going to take 2,000 off us for the lease. So we are going to get a payout of about 20,000. My question is, how long is this going to take? So lease the items. We're good to go. 0% progress. Just going to write down here, 12:44 p.m. local time. Let's go. And we'll fill this up at night time once we're off our field work. But I really want to try and do a full day of as much contracting as we can. So this is a different tractor. Going to get to drive a different tractor here. See how that goes. Start the engine up. Estancia 6270 CVT. Definitely feels slower. I think this is going to definitely be a larger tractor. It feels less responsive already. Maybe that'll be better for me. And a Grimm GL860 compactor, and this is for sowing. I am going to need. Am I going to need seed if we're planting seeds? Is that why the payout's so big? Because I'm going to need seeds. Let's turn it on. You need to unfold it. Fair enough. That makes sense. Alright, yep, so it's definitely going to make nice little rows. Wow, look at that. That's pretty awesome. That's cool. Wow. And then we want to turn it on. Is it going to let me? It's on, it's off, it's on, it's off. Lower it maybe. Turn on, turn off. Yeah, I get that. I'm just trying to see if it's going to tell me I need seeds, which I think it is going to do. Let's turn it off, and let's go to the sort of the information here. Sowing. You can sow using a seeder or a planter. To sow, you must fill the machine with seeds from a seed pallet. Select the crop you want to sow, turn on the machine and lower it into the ground. Seed pallets can be purchased at the shop. Some seeders can cultivate and sow in one go. Check the shop description for that machine. So yes, we need seeds. Now again, like the fertilising job, that explains why the payout is a little bit higher. And again, I do not know how many seeds I need. But I'm just going to go 3 pallets again. I assume you'll get reimbursed just the same as before. So big bags, and we are doing seed big bag. So So you just get a generic seed bag and then you tell it what seeds you want. Is that how it works? Back, pallets, bales. It's definitely that. Definitely seed. Okay, here maybe in the drop down do we choose buy? I can fetch it at the store. Well, that's great, but what's it got in it? Interesting. Change to the planter. No. Turn on, lift the planter, fold the planter. You first need to fill this tool. So we definitely know that we need to fill it. Am I not close enough? Refill the planter. There we go. And is it just straight, generic? Oh, let's fill it with potatoes. I don't know why or how that knows it wants potatoes. But anyway, let's not argue. So I'm just, how much did that fill it up? 1,000 of looks like maybe 8,000. I think we'll get reimbursed, so it's not the end of the world if we overbuy. So I'm just going to buy 7 more. 7 more. Learn by doing. That's what we're doing. We're learning by doing. Seed. Details. Buy. Yes. Okay. Buy. Yes. Buy. Yes. That's 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. They're 900 each, so I bought 8 in total. So it's about 7,200. So I think that's exactly the same cost as it ended up being for the fertilizer, strangely enough. All right, refill. And I'm not close enough to the other ones. Yeah, this tractor definitely feels a bit heavier, so I'd suggest that this is one of the large tractors. Oh, that's not the worst reverse job I've ever done that. But there we go, refill. Which one are we close to? Very nice. I'll take that reverse job. Oh, I might have got it right too. I think it does take 8,000. I can't quite reach the last one, apparently. Refill. There we go. We got that exactly right. To the map. I probably want to fold all this up, yeah. Lift it. Fold it. While we do that, we'll, uh-oh, is that going to get rid of, uh-oh. Oh, that's all right. We'll check the map. Field 13. So, yep, same one that we harvested previously, which makes sense. We harvested it off. And now he wants some new seeds replanted. He's gone from oats to potatoes. So there we go. No cars. Off we go. Now we need to remember that there's a gate. We need to take a wide turn to get in there nice and gently. Well, I need to remember. We don't need to remember. It's nobody else's fault if I hit a fence post. Alright, coming up on the gates. I think I should make it before that car. So we just swing out wide. And through we go. Alright, that was a bit better. Feels like I am getting a little bit of frame rate loss with the settings set up a bit. Nothing drastic, but it definitely feels like I am getting a bit of extra frame rate loss. Alright, here we are, field 13. So we'll go up to the other end where we started with the harvesting as well, because that seemed to work not too bad. I do like the handling of this tractor. It just feels heavier, more robust, more sort of realistic in the way that it's handling. So I like this. I do suspect that it's a large tractor, excuse me. Alright, so I'm just going to step away for a moment and I will pause the game, and when I get back we'll start sowing this field. Okay, back. So I did pause the game there. I also did pause the or stop calculating it in real time because we've taken 10 minutes on this contract so far with me mucking about, and we haven't done anything yet. So here we go, real time's back on. Let's see how we go here. So I assume it's just going to work at the width of this equipment here. I'm thinking this is probably going to leave a pretty good mark as to where we've been on that. So here we go. No, I probably might want to turn on the planter first. Rookie mistake. There we go. I don't know what a ridge marker is. Z for ridge marker. Not sure. I also don't know what the top bar indicates. So I can see the potato seed counting down. Turn it off. I can see the potato seed counting down, but I don't know what the top bar that's currently at 0 is. Again, try not to overlap too much here. Try and be as efficient as possible. And we are sowing. We are sowing potatoes. Works at 12 kilometers an hour. Seems to be roughly what most of the machinery does while on the field. I'll lift it up. I think I've just missed a tiny bit there. Oh dear, oversteered big time. So apparently I still can't drive even in the big tractor. Alright, so again it's a decent sized field. It took us 57 minutes to do the harvesting job on this field, so I'm sort of expecting that it will take a similar amount of time to sow on this field. Just a small patch there that's not done as well. You don't need to do 100%. Oops. Let's turn it off. You don't need to do 100%, but I need to get better at handling the equipment, because when it comes time to do our own fields, obviously we want to be good and efficient, and not wasting, not driving crooked, just getting better. That's what I need to do. I just need to get better, full stop. It's interesting that this farmer here has gone from oats to potatoes, because we harvested oats in our first harvesting contract, and we're now planting potatoes, because it sort of brings up something that I've been thinking about in regards to the realism, because I wonder if by the time you get your farm set up, you've bought enough fields that really all of your game time is consumed. Is it going to get a bit stale? Because you've reached a point where you're just doing the same thing over and over and over again to maintain your farm. So I wondered about the idea of forcing the rotation of crops. So this farmer has rotated from oats to potatoes, and there's obviously precedent for it in the real world, because farmers do rotate their crops for biodiversity reasons. If they just plant the same crop over and over and over again, it rips too much of the particular nutrients out of the ground, and makes the ground far less usable. So they do rotate their crops so that they manage what's getting taken out of the ground and what's getting put into the ground. And so I wondered about some sort of, for the realism's sake, some sort of forced crop rotation rules. So I've been thinking about that. I'll continue to think about it. I think it is something that I will want to introduce. I mean, it's only my game, it's only my play style, but something around rotating crops once every X number of harvests, maybe something around the uniques like poplars and sugarcane, maybe something around root crops like the sugar beets and these potatoes, just something like that, so that and it's also going to give you access, or the need for additional equipment too, because if you just plant all wheat, you just need your equipment for getting the job done with wheat. But if you're sort of required to do wheat and then one of the root crops every 3 years, and then a sugar cane once every 6 or 7 harvests, you need to think more about your equipment. I think it's going to extend the lifeline of where you're having fun in the game. I mean, that's just my take. I don't have the exact specifics of it sorted out yet, but it just brought it to mind then, because clearly this farmer has rotated his crops, and I'm sure that's just a part of the AI, but it does raise an interesting question. So I'll be thinking about that some more, and trying to come up with a rule set that again just balances the challenge and balances the realism, but still remains fun. It's not supposed to be a job. You shouldn't feel like you're taking a loss, either financially or in the metric of fun, just to do something like that. So yeah, it'll be something that I'll definitely be thinking on over the next few videos here. So I'll get to the end of this pass, and then we'll see where we're at. This doesn't seem, this equipment doesn't seem as wide as the header on the harvester, which was 13.7 meters. So it feels like it's going to take a lot more passes to finish off this same field 13. I'm ending that a little bit early, I think. Just leaving a little bit. Let's get this set for the next pass. Set the cruise for a sec. where are we at? Contracts, 10%. Wow, it's going to take a while. That is one thing I think with these root crops. I think all of the equipment in regards to root crops is much narrower. You know, it's specific equipment just for the jobs, just for the root crop jobs, and I think it is narrower. So more time, more passes, and I wonder if the payout makes it worth it over the other crop varieties when it comes time to do your own planting. Whether, you know, the per acre profit on potatoes is just so much better that it justifies the extra equipment and the extra time. I did have a thought about what we have written down for the worker wages, which was, we had a working number of, well, wow, I've completely munched that. Or have I not put it down yet? No, it's down. No, not down. No, I've got it turned off, that's why. I did have a thought about the number that we have written down, because I just did that, just an instant, do a donut, start again. We just did an instant hire and fire, which gave us sort of the bare minimal cost, but I think it's done in real world minutes, because otherwise if you were playing on different speeds of the game, and we're playing on 5 times, you can play on 1 times, which is real time, all the way up to 120 times, you would get charged very different amounts for the same amount of work. So I think it's done in real life minutes, so I probably need to just check that and hire a worker for say 30 seconds, and if it stays at $2, then yes, it is in real time, and then I need to let it run over and past 1 full minute and let it essentially click up to the second increment and just see how much it rises by, so that we can get a better figure for the worker. So I'll do that on this pass. That was a horrible pass, that one. I should be ashamed of that. Still the draw distance. I mean, I really try not to be super critical of things like this. It's a leisure time activity. We don't really have any right to be complaining about something that we do for fun, but I would have thought in 2018, with a decent rig, a computer rig, that it should be able to draw a lot further out than that. I mean, I'm not a coder, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, having the different textures even halfway across the same field isn't ideal. It's possible I'm missing a setting somewhere, or I could tinker around with the actual graphics card settings and make some specific changes for this game. But yeah, like I say, I don't like to complain. I've just missed the end there. But yeah, I would have expected it to be a little bit better than that. I don't need to get 100% on this, so I can just leave that, even though it's still poor form. Certainly is realistic though. It's just not point and click, hooray, it's harvested, or, you know, point and click, hooray, it's sowed here. You need to steer, you need to drive. The difference between a good driver and a poor driver, such as myself, I think it's really going to stand out, honestly, which is realistic. It's good. It rewards you for doing a good job. It's just gone past lunchtime, 12 o'clock. Got all the way to the end on that one. Alright, so I'm going to hire a worker here, and we're just going to so I'm just going to let him go for around 30 seconds and then fire him off and see what number we get, and then the next pass I will fire him off after a full minute, so minute 5, minute 10, and just see what that second increment is so we can get a little bit of data on the workers. So I'm just going to dismiss him here, and did it tell me what we got charged? It did not. Let's have a look here. So $2. Oh, today $16. So it must be in game time. Because I didn't record exactly how long that was, because I thought that was still going to be $2. Alright, finish this pass off and we'll do some more investigating. Oops. Oh, that's right. I need to lower it back down because they lift it and turn it off like good little worker bees, I suppose. It was pointed out to me yesterday that you probably don't want your employees jumping out of your farm equipment just with leaving the engine on to free wheel to the opposite side of the farm. So that's probably fair. Alright, let's hire an employee for 10 seconds. So I'll wait till the top of the minute. Alright, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And fired. So we're on $16 in wage payments. So that's cost us $6 for 10 seconds. Just make a note of that. $6, 10 seconds. That's real time 10 seconds. And we're at $22 total now. So what I'm going to do is hire a worker for 30 seconds. Wait for the top of the minute again. I know this is wrecking the maths on our sowing job here, but it's just one data point. We will do multiple as the days go by, and it'll all average out. Right, hire a worker. Oops, you sort of dropped that. So we'll go until 32 because it wasted 2 seconds dropping the implement there. And it's going to get to the end of the field maybe as well, which is going to jank it also. We'll see. Oh, it might work. 30, 31, 32, fire him. Alright, let's check. And that cost us 18. So yeah, that's adding up. So that was $18 for 30 seconds, real time. So that means it's going to be $36 for 60 seconds, real time. So $36 per real time minute. Which, if you times it by 5 because of our time setting, yes, you do get to $180 per hour as a wage. Alright, yeah. So that's the number we're going to work off. We're going to work off $36 every real time minute. And it doesn't do it at the top of the minute. It does it in real time because we paid them $6 for 10 seconds $18 for 30 seconds. So it does it down to the real-time second. So, all right, we have a number. I wanted to get that. So we had it down as $2 a minute, I think. So we were way off. Way off. My bad. Let's get cracking, because I still would reckon we're less than 20% done here. Check the contract. 22%. There we go. A little bit better than I thought. Clearly leaving all little marks and things in there. It's not going to affect me for this contract. I'll get to the 90 whatever percent he wants, but you know, on your own field, all those little bits would be affecting your yield come harvest time. A little bit of a frame rate splutter there. Birds on the field. Oh, just overturns too much. Can hear a woodpecker in the distance. Like I said, I did turn up the game sounds just a notch, and the engine sounds just a notch, just to make sure they're a bit more audible on the videos. I think I'm just going to leave a gap in there, otherwise I'll have to turn every time up the field. I like how it leaves the tyre tracks though. That is good. And there's a setting for just how many of those will be visible on the map at any one time. So I've got it up at the max setting, so they will stay there for a while until that max number gets reached. Moving up to 1 o'clock in the afternoon already. So I think yesterday, you know, based off the data of just one harvesting job, we speculated that a good day's contracting work might be around $20,000. Just based on that, I think, yeah, given what we got paid for the fertilising job, if you do those or possibly some of these other jobs, it may even get a bit above that. So I think we started the day 460,000 ish, something like that, and we've been paid $7,000, and obviously we've just spent that again getting the seed for the sowing of the potatoes here. But once we complete this off, the payout here is excuse me, about $20,000. So if we can get that up to 480,000 and then fit in another contracting job at the end, or a part of another contracting job at the end, that'll be good. We'll be edging back up towards our initial starting funds, which will mean we've paid for our pickup. Lock stock, it'll be ours, and I'm just checking a minute on the next pass to see if any new contracts have appeared with any new data on any additional fields, because we're about 2/3 of the way through. Okay, it's just taking the wage payment out. Maybe it does it at the top of the hour. So yeah, it was showing on the finances page, but it hadn't actually taken it out of our balance yet. But it's just gone 1 o'clock, so maybe wage payments come out at the top of the game hour. That'd be my guess. Let's have a look here at the other contracts. Transporting, that's a new field 9, field 12, field 23. Do we have those? 9, 12, 23. 9 we do not, 12 we do, 23 we do. So field 9, which is the newest of those, is clearly a new field. So that's cool, extra bit of information. So I might just go and pop that in while we're heading up here. 6.47 acres. 6.47, oops, another comma. 6.47, next pass I'll do the sum on it. Oh yeah, that's why you don't tab away. Goodness me. I did that on the other job this morning as well. I really need to make sure I'm going in a straight line. There is actually, down in the bottom of the mini map, there is actually what's effectively a compass. So if you see the degrees working their way around, 0 degrees being north, 90 being east, 180 south, 270 west. Really, I missed a bit again. Really, if you look at that and get it to a point where that degrees thing is stable, like it is now, the direction that I'm heading doesn't necessarily matter, but the fact that it's stable means that I am effectively heading in a straight line, a straightish line. It's about as straight as you're going to get it. But yeah, still going to miss a little bit, so not quite straight. Wow, terrible field. I hope this isn't like requiring, say, 99%, because otherwise I'm going to have to go back and fix up quite a few little spots. How far are we through? 37. Getting there. Slowly, slowly. Possibly the worst sowing job ever. Oh, and we are nearly out of seeds. Wow. Wow. We will not get another pass out of that. So we're about 40%, 38% through the contract, and we have burned through 7,200. Near enough. If it was empty, it'd be 7,200 worth of seeds. Wow. We need to go back and rebuy. 38%. In theory, we'll need to rebuy twice more. Wow. Okay. It is what it is. Fold it up. It's a cool piece of machinery though. Back to the shop. At least it's an activity that we can very clearly see where we've been and where we haven't been, so we won't have any trouble at all picking up. Yeah, you see the draw distance just going away in front. I'm not a big fan of that. Not a big fan. Cars, right hand side of the road. So this is costing us more time, it's costing us more money. I think The payout was only 22,000. We cost 2,000 to lease the equipment. That takes it down to 20. I think we're going to use nearly 20,000 worth of seed. Interesting. There's only one way to find out. Alright, I'm going to park it something like across here, because that's roughly where they came out to last time we bought them. Oops, E. Alright, let's go and buy. We bought 7, so we'll go and buy another 7. 2 bags. Seed. Buy. Yes. Buy. Yes. Buy. Yes. Buy. Yes. Buy. Yes. That's 5, 6, 7. Alright, let's go. So 6,300. Did I buy 8 last time? Did I? I did, I think, because it took 8,000. I like that. Look how you can see the equipment's gotten dirty. Tractor tyres, and in particular the cultivator there. That's cool. I like that. That's awesome. So you can gripe about draw distance on the fields, and I think that's fair enough. And then you can give them credit for some details like that. That's really cool. All right, fill. So we're at about 13,000, nearly 14,000, I'd say, in seed. And obviously our time as well. This job I can see taking around an hour and 20 real time. So yeah, I'm not sure if I've missed a trick here, if I'm doing it wrong. Whether when we get to the end and do the math, it's not quite as bad as it seems currently, but it's not feeling like this is going to be a very profitable job. Alright, we're away. Back to the field we go. Half past 1 in the afternoon. So engine's off at 8 PM. We can still transport around, if we had our own farms, we can still feed animals, clean up, stack bales, things like that around the farm, but we don't have any of that. The only contracting job that we have available to us after 8 PM is transport, and we don't have anything with forks on the front yet. So we can't transport the pallets for that. So it really means at the moment for us still the 8 PM to midnight time frame when we hit the hay is just about information gathering. It's about filling out the spreadsheet, looking at the equipment, making a list of what things we think we're going to need once we buy up. So really want to try and make full use of the field time today, both to bring in as much money as we can and try out as many different jobs as we can, because we've done harvesting, we've now done fertilising. This is sowing, although it's sowing of root vegetables, which is going to be different than sowing of just normal crops. So we still need to try all that. They're still weeding, although I haven't seen a weeding contract in there yet. They're still baling, which we did see one. I'm not sure if it's still there or not. Ploughing. We haven't done ploughing yet either. Lower the planter. Turn on the planter. Alright, let's go. So there's still a number of different contracts we haven't tried yet. There's a number of different equipment sets for the contracts. There's 3 or 4 different equipment sets for harvesting, and the same all down the line. And I have a really strong feeling that some of the equipment sets are going to be much faster and therefore a better rate of return for your time than some other equipment sets. I mean, I feel like that big harvester and the semi that we used for harvesting on day 1 was like an optimum setup for harvesting, because I mean, we checked in the shop and it was $750,000 ish to purchase that setup. So I feel like those ones are going to end up taking a priority over some of the other ones. So I thought to myself, maybe we would get 20,000 in today. I definitely think 20,000 is achievable in a day, assuming you just take the best contracts, but we're trying things out here, so we're really not min-maxing at the moment because we really don't know. You know, we are formulating some hunches and gathering some data, but we really don't know right now which are the really cherry premium contracts to be taking. This will go down in history as the worst ploughing job ever. I will look back on my playtime in days to come, hopefully, if my skills improve, and be embarrassed to have publicly displayed my sowing skills like this, but we all start somewhere. So next pass, I'm just going to do that calculation on field 9, because that's a new field that popped up in the contracts for the first time, so we got access to the size of the field there, which means we can add that into the spreadsheet. The birds are cool. There's a field over there that's almost ready to be harvested. That's got to hurt the machinery. If you come on at 50 kilometres an hour and then just drop the instrument at the edge of the field and drop down to 12 kilometres an hour, that's got to hurt the equipment, I would have thought. Right, that seems relatively straight. Famous last words. So it was 6.47. Whoa, big calculator. Oh, don't do that. Nope. Smaller calculator, please. Goodness. Stop it. There we go. So I'm just going to do another pass here because that's clearly taking too long. Anyway, I think it's my first time using a computer. And we've just gone past 2 o'clock. And we might be at 50%. There's no delivery involved in this contract, so the full contract is just ploughing enough of the field. On autopilot again. Alright, so we have $354,936 divided by 6.47 acres gives us 54,858 per acre. 54,858. So that's a little bit on the higher range compared to some of the other ones here. But it's next to a data point. I have looked at the map to see, you know, how much additional land and things are attached to that one. Oh, silly thing. I swear that was going straight. Wow. Extra time, extra hassle. But yes, that's just another field added in. Like I say, we're about 2/3 of the way to gathering that data, which will be a really good milestone, really good achievement once we've got that. It's not going to be the be all and end all of the decision of where we start up, but it'll definitely be one of the big contributing factors. So I'm going to have to do like a half pass back up to that spot there. Where are we at contract wise? 48. At least on this side it's got a lot of headroom that you can turn around in. Left another little bit there. If I keep doing it this way, I think I am going to have to go back and just clean up little spots to complete this off, because I've just missed too many random little bits and pieces. Feels like we've done a little bit over 50%. So it feels like to me, but again, it could just be because of the bits that are missing. So I'll go back up here and start a full run. You can see the train just cycles around the entire map, and I think, like I said in video 1, you can load it up if you need to move, bulk goods from one side of the map to the other. You can use that instead of doing however many trips it might take you to do it in other forms of transportation. 53. So field 9 was the last one we did. 16, 29, 8. Are they new? 16, 29, 8. 8 is not. 16 is not. 29 is not. That's not helpful. Still feel like maybe the engine noise is a little bit quiet. I think it should be picking up a bit more, or the video should be picking up a bit more of the engine noise. So maybe for the next video I'll knock it up another notch. Find that healthy balance. I think, as I said yesterday, very, very new to recording or anything like this. So I'm just learning as I go. It's definitely not a straight line. By picking the big contract here, we may have cursed ourselves, because if it's a big good contract, then that's good. If it's a big bad contract, well, that's less than ideal. I wouldn't call this bad. I am enjoying this tractor. It definitely feels heavier. It feels weightier, and I'm enjoying the difference here with the root crop. It may be that sowing jobs aren't all bad, it may be specifically to do with the fact that it's a root crop. The operating width of this machine, you know, the equivalent in a wheat or a corn or a barley or something, may be far, far wider. So you may get through your work much quicker. Just don't know. That's interesting. The weather has changed. Well, it hasn't changed, but at the top there we have the cloud, which means that's the 6-hour forecast. So I don't know if that's the rain one or if it's just sort of an overcast kind of situation, but that'll be interesting because we, per the rules, may not work the field in the rain. The only thing we can do is plough, and I assume that's because a plough is a fairly solid implement, so you know, rain isn't going to affect that too much. But these other vehicles and tools that are a bit more complex and have got motors and things on them, you clearly don't want to be running. I'll stop short again. You clearly don't want to be running them in the rain, so that'd be possibly an additional spanner in the works. But it's good that it's there. It's good that the changing weather is a thing. That'll make it really interesting. Because with crop withering and on and such, if you were to say leave a harvest a little bit too late, and then the rains came, you lose your harvest, as per our realism rules. And I think that is realistic because many a farmer has had their plans and their crops ruined by the extremes of the weather conditions, either too hot, not enough rain, too much rain. So I think that's super realistic. There is a seasons mod which is created by a company or a group called Realismus Modding, and that takes the weather just to another level. I know I've read on the forums people saying they will not play without the seasons mod. It's not out for 19 yet, and there's no release date as of yet, but that'll be something interesting to check out as well. I won't do it on this particular save. We'll we'll go with the base game, see how that plays. But it'll definitely be something that I check out for a different playthrough, possibly I've lifted that because it told me to, and then forgot to put it back down. And it brings in snow, it brings in more variable weather conditions, and it brings in planting seasons. So, in autumn, here's the crops that you can plant, and then you've got a window in which they can be harvested, and then obviously that field will get turned over, say in the summer, into a different type of crop because it's that crop's growth window. So there's a lot more management of what you're going to do with your fields each season. It's got rave reviews, so I am looking forward to getting my hands on that. But it was just interesting to see that the weather forecast has changed at the top there. So we'll find out whether that brings rain or whether that just brings a graphical change to the sky and makes it a bit more overcast as it goes 3 o'clock. Work to be done is definitely getting smaller. Slowly but surely, we're getting there. And I think that's the thing with this sort of a game. It's not an FPS with the adrenaline rush and the fast action. You put in your time, you put in your effort, and you do start to see some reward for it. That's not us. Here we are, 70%. All right, we're getting there. But I do feel like we're going to have to put in some more seeds still. So how much have I cost myself here with, you know, the amount of overlapping that I've done? I think that's definitely a consideration. I think I definitely have cost myself with the amount of overlapping that I've done. You know, re-sowing the same areas each pass. Don't think we'll need to fill it up completely again, but I think I definitely am going to have to pick up a bit more seed. I'm just going to assume it's the same as a fertiliser, that I will get reimbursed for anything that's left in it when I complete the contract and turn the leased equipment back over. Just going to work on that assumption. So just for the last few passes, or however many passes remain, I'm just going to try and not overrun as much. Try and conserve the last of those seeds. Definitely going to have to go back to the shop. There's no avoiding that, but I'll try to be a little bit less wasteful. I wonder if they get annoyed if you just go around the border now, and so some of their rows are in a different direction. I mean, the AI is not going to be coded that way, but imagine if you did that to a real person's farm, just random corner of the field you did in a different direction. I reckon that'd mess with them big time. Not that I would do that, or I'm that sort of person, truthfully. I promise. Try and be efficient. I feel like I did use less seeds in that last patch, or felt like I sowed a bigger area for the same number of seeds, let's put it that way. So yeah, I mean, even if we end up making very little money, I mean, I'm sort of half doing the math in my head, and I think it's possible we actually end up losing money on this contract, but I'm prepared to put a big chunk of that down to just inexperience and my driving, honestly. Now, if you had your own potato field and you didn't want to buy the seeds, I believe you can put your own potatoes, or the tops of the potatoes or something like that, into here, and you could technically use your own offcuts to do this contract work, which would have saved around $13,000, $14,000 worth of seed already. You just need to do the math as to, especially if you had excess, if you replanted your own fields, had had more than you knew what to do with, then that would make this contract considerably more profitable if you were just using your own instead of buying the seeds, because that's clearly been a big expense for us. Alright, I reckon I'm going to get this pass in, and then it's going to be back to the store. So each full sowing machine has been doing around 30 to 35% of the contract. We were going to have around 18 to 20% left, so I'm going to get 4. I'm going to buy 4 more. I mean, I'm thinking I'm going to get reimbursed if I overbuy, but just in case, I'm just going to get 4 more bags of seeds. So again, another $3,600 in seed. Look out, birdies. Yep, so I'm just going to get down to the end of this pass, so I won't get back up again. So turn it off, fold it up, and we'll head back to the store again. You see the gas station down there? That is where we hoboed ourselves last night. I still don't know what a ridge marker is. I probably should use it just to see what it is. Look with your eyes, not with your car. Alright, back down to the shop. Even just in front, the detail on that power line is drawing away. I've got a feeling it might be a setting somewhere, because I haven't seen any massive complaints about that, so it might be something in my settings or with my computer, I think. Just gonna overtake here. So it's another consideration with the realism. Is it realistic that, you know, I'm overtaking the traffic in my tractor? I know I set it at 55 because the signs are at 35. And that doesn't change between miles and kilometres, so I bumped it up a bit because we're playing on kilometres. But is it realistic that, you know, I'm overtaking these cars, or should I, because I think they're driving at 35, so should I bump all my cruise controls down to 35 as well, just so that it plays in with the fact that I'm not, you know, screaming past the traffic? Let me know in the comments. Do you think I should keep it at 55, or should I drop it down to 35? Let me know. Alright, 3 more bags. No, 4 more bags I said, didn't I? Alright, 4. 3,600. Didn't get close enough this time. I am now, at least that end one. I reckon that gets them all. Alright, let's go, let's finish this. Wow, it's just a convoy of 8 cars. 9 cars, would help if I could count. Okay. Here's where we are. Okay, so if you just press lower planter, it lowers it and unfolds it, if it's not already unfolded, obviously. Oops, turned it on a little bit early there. Alright, really do not want to go back to the shop again. Need to make the most of this seed, need to get this one finished because it's shaping to be a little bit of a money sink. %. I figured out where the headlights were. Also, after about 9 PM, when it got a little bit darker, a pop-up came up that told me F to toggle headlights. So what I was using was like high beams, obviously, on top of the regular headlights. So it's just F to toggle the headlights. And then if you jump out of the car at night time, it's also F to toggle a flashlight. So if you're walking around doing something on the farm, needing a little bit of light, it's F to toggle a flashlight. So that was a handy little bit of information. So we also know that there's a radio. Radio is 5. Let's see how that goes. Oh my. Pop Radio FM. Interesting. Alright, so that's there. You know, if you've got a big field to plough like this, and you're not mindlessly talking into a microphone like I am, you can pop that on. I think there is multiple stations as well. Let's see if it brings up the hotkey for that. No, but there is I think it's 5 to bring up the rate. It might be 6 and 4 to go forward a station, back a station. So we'll just get to the end here and we'll try that out as well. See if we can find a metal or a rock one. That'd be a bit more to my liking. What do we got? Electro. Country. That'll be on high rotation, I would have thought, in this game. 70s. Online streams not rated. Okay. Okay, so you can stream your own. I don't want all the streams. I want to go back here. Rock. Okay. Oh, I'm going to need a copyright tick for this as well now. Alright, and the rest is streams. Alright, so there is a rock station. That's going to get a copyright ding because it's somebody else's music in my video. It's okay, it doesn't count as a strike. It's just can't monetize the videos. Any advertising revenue goes to the people who wrote the song that I use. So there you go, YouTube. You're going to have to cycle through about 7 different copyright claims. Have at it. I did forget about that. Alright, moving right along. 92. Here we go. Maybe finish this pass and one more pass. And it's 4:30 in the afternoon now. So we liked the payout on the fertilising job. We liked $7,994 for 27 real life minutes work. We like that. That was significantly more than the harvesting work, but I don't think we're going to like the payout for this one very much. We shall see. Hopefully this is the last run. Get a little bit back for the seeds that we don't use. Six. Come on. Just this pass. No, it's going to make us go back and start the next pass too. You can really hear these rip through the ground. That's why I don't think the audio level that we've got it set at is doing it justice. You really can hear these ripping and bumping and grabbing, you know, as they work their way through the dirt. It's really top quality audio, I think. So if this was real life, this farmer would never ever ask me to touch his fields again. But that's how it goes. Got to be there, got to be finishing. Come on, 99. So you can see you don't have to get 100%. You know, we're probably about 2 passes short of 100%, plus all the various bits and pieces that I've missed. There you go, contract on field 13 finished. So we're going to fold all this up. So we're about, 2 passes short of the full field and all the bits and pieces I missed. So, it's clearly only 90 something percent to complete. But I mean, the dirt effect's really great if I get in here. And the engine noise perks up when you get, but I mean, it didn't have any dirt on the actual bodywork of the tractor before, and now it's got dirt on the bodywork, even more dirt on the machinery. That's awesome. So while we can complain about some things like the draw distance, again, have to give props when they get it right, and that dirt effect looks great. I think though, one thing that people are complaining about or noticing is that when you repair a vehicle, it sort of instantly gives it a wash. So I think a lot of people, obviously they want to repair their equipment because they need to do the maintenance, but they want to keep the sort of weathered, aged look, and I can understand that. You don't want everything. I mean, if you're really on top of it and doing daily repairs, you probably don't want your tractor to look sparkly every time you do it, particularly people playing for realism, because you can buy a high pressure hose and manually clean your equipment off and take the time to do it. And there is also a car wash down at the gas station, which potentially also has a interaction point which would let you wash your machinery as well. So sort of getting it auto washed every time you do maintenance, I can see why. It might seem like a small thing, but I can see why it breaks the immersion or breaks the realism a little bit for some people. Alright, engine off, out we get. And what sort of equipment was it? Steyr 6270 CVT. Steyr 6270 CVT. That's not going to tell me what this piece of equipment is, so I'm just going to write down the name if I can see it. A Grimm GL860 GL860 compactor. Alright, so we're going to finish this off. We're going to get some sums. So first of all, we started this second portion at 1:05 PM local, 2:17 PM local, so that's 70, let's call it 76 minutes. And then we did 10 minutes on the first bit also, so that's 86 minutes, 86 real-time minutes for this contract. So let's finish it off, let's complete it off. So they got paid $22,500 minus $2,043 for the lease. We reimbursed $864 for their unused seed. So $21,393. I'm just going to write this down. $22,571. The lease was $2,043. Reimburse $864 for a total payout of $21,393. Right, but how much did we spend on seed? So the new vehicles cost, the seed goes into the new vehicles cost. We didn't buy any today. We bought all the spray yesterday and our pickup. So that's all seed cost. So our $21,393 minus $17,100 actually means we only made $4,293. $4,293 for 86 real-time minutes. Now I'm prepared to accept that a bit of that is my overrunning and my inefficiency, for sure. and I'm prepared to accept that as far as sowing jobs go, the potato or the root vegetable may be a lesser return than normal crops, but yeah, that doesn't stack up. As far as our single data points go, that comes in a significant third behind fertilising and harvesting. So that's good to know. I'm just going to step away for a moment. I will pause this and I'll be back. Alright, so just going to quickly duck in here, have a look at the cost of that equipment. Again, just out of interest sake. So the Steyr 6290 CVT, I'm going to guess that's a large tractor. Steyr CVT, 6270 CVT, yep, that's the one. So 240,000 for that, 288 horsepower, pulled that piece of equipment, no problems at all. Wide tires and weights, not really too sure what that's about. Twin wheels, that's plus 10,000. Rear twin wheels, standard, so no thin wheels, so you're not using that on any sort of advanced growth stage. Imagine that's because it's a large tractor. That makes sense. So we'll go back. And we also used in here beet technology, no, potato technology. So we used the Grimm GL860 compactor, that one right there. So 99,000 for that. 99,000 for that, for sowing your potatoes. And we know it takes a lot of seeds. You need 170 horsepower to pull that. That's why that tractor was able to do it at 288. Looks like there's a smaller one there. So it looks like that's half the size. Or 420 to 860. 3 meters, 6 meter width. Only need 150 horsepower to pull it. Need 170. Only holds 2,700 litres. Holds 9,000 litres. And can do potato and herbicide and fertiliser. But no, that's fertiliser and something else, not sure. And that can't do one of the things. With a seeder planter you can sow fields. With a seeder planter you can sow fields. Not too sure. But anyway, so there is a cheaper option to get in anyway. It's going to take you even more time. But much cheaper price point. So there we go. That's the equipment that we used. So nearly 5:30. So we're going to grab another contract here. Try something different. Field 7. Is that new? Yes, we don't have the data for field 7, so I'm going to grab that quickly. 9.68 acres. 9.68. We'll do the math on that once we get going somewhere. And we want to try something different. Oh, wow. Field 29, which is the field that we just did, right there, we just sowed that, and now it's, okay, so it needs to be removed, the tops. So I think for these root vegetables, you might need to harvest them twice. So that's a removed top and then an actual full harvest. But still, that's gotten there very quickly. But I mean, the time scales a bit out of whack. It's a bit hard to judge because obviously they have to accelerate it so fast so that you've always got something to do. And these fields are changing. They are going through their cycles, even with the MPC farmers, because yesterday, day one, I commented that field 11, which I was looking at, was in a ready to harvest phase. And when we end up buying a plot of land, we might want to wait until it's in a ready to harvest phase so that we can buy it, harvest it, and get a little bit of our money back. And you can see between then and now, it's gone to a harvested state. So the MPC farmer has harvested that crop, whatever's growing on it, wheat. So the MPC farmer has harvested that wheat. So if field 11 was the one we wanted to buy and we really did want to focus on getting it at a harvested state, we now need to wait. We need to wait for it to be ploughed, cultivated, do its growth cycle, and then be ready to harvest again. Not that that's specifically the one that we need to look at, but that's what we would need to do. So looking at the contracts, we'll try and pick up something different again, but man, that's a really big number. 58,000. 58,000 to harvest the potatoes and take them to the harbour. Just the 3 pieces of equipment. Just the 3 pieces of equipment. Doesn't take too much out of it, so you still be left with around 53,000, which is a big number in one hit. Just looking at that harvester though, the way it ramps up, I don't know if you need to drive the truck along beside that because it's not going to store any. Whereas when we harvested the oats, we harvested, filled the harvester up, drove to the truck, dumped it in the truck. I've got a feeling that may need to be driven along beside, which would mean putting a worker in the harvester and then driving along beside the harvester, which is an additional cost, a really big field, a narrow working width. Yeah, that's an interesting contract to say the least. But it's not for now anyway, so we want to try something different. We've done a harvest, we've done a fertilise, we've just done a sow, so you've got ploughing, cultivating, baling. And then there should be weeding as well, but a weeding hasn't popped up yet. Ploughing, cultivating, baling. Alright, let's try the baling one because I think that's going to fall off the bottom soon. I think that's not going to be available. It's heaps of equipment, not a very big payout. It is a tiny field though, but let's just take this just as the experience of finding out what mowing and baling is all about. It's not about the money this one. We will track it, obviously, and we won't dawdle, but end of a long day, we were really happy with what we got out of the fertilising job. We were not so happy with what we got out of the sowing job. So let's just finish the day off with this baling contract here. So it's going to cost us $194 for the equipment, which is not much. So we're going to lease it. We started at 3:27 p.m. local time. All right, let's go. So the equipment should be out the front. That's 7 pieces of equipment, so I don't know how many runs this is going to take. I don't even know what all this gear is. What is that thing? That looks like, is that a baling machine? What is that? Might be the mower. Or is that the mower? Alright, let's go. Jump in. So we've got that fence again, which we had before, but it's got the wide tyres on it now. Which is interesting. So I probably think that grass doesn't get knocked down by wide tyres. I think it's a specific sort of crop that doesn't get knocked down. New Holland disc bine. I don't know what that does. 313. All right, let's have a look here. This is going to be a real learning experience, this one. Let's have a look at grass. All right, grass is cut with a mower, which is usually attached to a tractor. use a tedder to turn the cut grass around so it can properly dry into hay. Hay looks slightly lighter and less saturated than cut grass. So right, what about collecting it? To make grass, hay or straw, so that's clearly what this thing is, collecting easier, it is recommended to arrange it into rows by using a windrower. Grass can be collected with a loading wagon or made into grass bales using a baler. Alright, so that's the uses for grass. So which one's the mower? I'm going to say that's the mower. So what's this thing? A disc bine. I don't know. Oops, I left the engine running. My bad. Learn by doing. We learn by doing. So I'll just jump through here. I'm just going to check the description of what a disc bine is. Just maybe that'll give us a heads up of what this actually does. So something for grass. So mowers, that thing's definitely the mower. There you go, the disc bine. It's a mower. Mower cuts the grass. It's got a 4 metre width. So what's that other thing? What's that yellow thing? Looks like a mower as well to me. I wonder why that doesn't just give you like a mouse over description. So I'll pull up in front of it and we'll get the name of it and work out what that one is too. Because we haven't attached this yet. So, because that next one's the windrower. So you cut the grass, then you arrange it into rows. That makes sense to me. And then you pick it up with the baler. That makes sense to me. Why, that's not giving me a description. Or is the hitch point on the other side for some reason for that one? Probably. Sorry, store owner, people leaving tyre tracks. So yeah, it's getting up towards 7 o'clock already. Well, not up towards, but a Pottinger Novacat 301G. A Pottinger Novacat 301ED. Alright, so what on God's green earth is that? Is it going to be in mowers as well? Is it Pottinger? So it mows as well? That works 4 metres. That works 3.1 metres. So why? Maybe it depends on what tractor. Maybe it didn't know what tractor it was going to give you. I'm not sure, because it's got a specific hitching point, a specific hitching type, and it requires less horsepower. So maybe it didn't know what tractor it was going to give you. I don't know. But it's a mower as well, and it does shorter working passes, so that I won't be taking that to the field. I'll be taking this other one, this bigger one. So I'm going to have to do a couple of runs to the field, which is obviously going to add to the time the job takes with all this ferrying of gear. That's why those harvesting ones that only have the 3 pieces of gear or the 4 pieces of gear are so good. So field 28, tiny one. It is field 28, right? I better check. Yes, field 28. So tiny one up near that previous field we did, the big one. But it's only a small one. So off we go. Off we go. Do these baling things attach to the front? Can I take one of those on this run too? I'm never going to get that around there though. Can I hook it around enough to grab one? Nope. Oh. But I think I need to. So I need to. How do you detach? No. G, you change tools? No. Alright, what's the key bind for detach? Pause, open store, honk, dump. No, that's select attach tool, select tool, lower tool. Come on, there has to be a detach button. You cannot be serious. E, flashlight the camera, pause the game, switch the vehicles, we've done that, open the menu, we've done that, attach tool, Q, maybe it's Q again, there you go. Alright, so we need to gently come around here and grab one of these, because otherwise it'll be an extra trip. This is going to be for the baling machine, I believe. This is not the most riveting video I've ever made, and that's saying something. Alright, off we go. We're going to take these to the field, dump it off, then come back and grab the windrower and the other baling thing, and then come back and grab the baling machine, I guess. Which I think maybe drives itself. So around here. So that's the big field 29, which we did, we sowed, and which now wants harvesting, or wants the heads taking off anyway. No train. Nice, so a bit of a silo thing there. Alright, so just here on the right, yes, no, yes, that tiny field there. So we're going to drop the baling tool off, the back tool off. G, no, tab, no, I want to go to the front. How do I go to the front tool that I want to drop off? Q to drop that off as well, there we go. Do I need two of those? I really don't know. I really don't. Right, back to the store. A bit precarious, isn't it? No train. Alright, so I'm going to grab this baling tool here, shunt it around straight, and grab the windrower, which is used to, once the grass is cut, it seems, push it back into nice rows to make it easier to bale, which makes perfect sense to me. Alright, out we go. Actually didn't check to the left then, because I haven't actually seen any cars going that way. But I probably should have anyway. There goes the train. So I can be pretty confident I'm not going to get hit when I go across here. attach that. Put this one baler up here with the other one, so that maybe if I need them I can just sort of drive through them like that, and I'll go and get the baling machine itself as we push up towards 7 o'clock. So no way I'm going to get this done, but maybe we can at least get the mowing done. That'll be something before we turn the engines off at 8 PM. Surprisingly, I haven't driven on the wrong side of the road yet. Alright, this looks to be a baling machine. No idea how that works, but we will very soon find out. Because we have to transport them as well, so how many bales are we going to get out of it? Maybe that's what those white forks are, that once you've made the bale, you pick the bale up with the fork so that you can transport it, because we do need to transport it as well. Yeah, that might be the case, I think. Train coming. Yep. Alright, just going to use this bit of a median over here. I do not want to drive on other people's crops, that's not very realistic, so drop that off there. So the first thing we need to do is we need to mow. So that's this piece of equipment here. I'm just going to go to that far end. That's water, that's why it's, the effect is changing. It's a really small field, 1.2 acres, so shouldn't be too bad. And grass mustn't be affected by these big tyres because, okay, lower it. It's going to come around on the angle, is that what it's going to do? Or do I have to drive off the field to get it to sort of do that? Okay, it's a little bit different, so it swings out to the side there. I'm not sure if that's working as intended, to be honest, but it is mowing, so turning around is going to be interesting. That's got some sort of pickup, drop-off point. Oh, clattered it. Oh no. Dear oh dear. Train again. Alright, so maybe this is how it's supposed to work. It's supposed to trail along. I mean, that does seem to be working pretty well, so I guess that's how it's intended to work. A little bit finicky at the ends. Didn't quite get to the end there. Yeah, it definitely seems to whip around and want to sort of reset itself there for sure. Maybe that's not what the other one does. Maybe the other one follows more along behind you, if that's your preferred style of mowing, possibly. Not sure. seem to be getting through it. It'd be great if I could get this mowed off before 8 o'clock, which I think we should be able to do. Some of that's dumping off though, which is a little bit concerning. Yeah, like that, it's dumping a little bit off. I wonder if the windrow will be able to kick that back in, or whether that's lost forever, because it's not my field, so it's not really going to let me use the equipment off the end of it, which is a little bit problematic. Yeah, it still just dumps a little bit off the end. I'm sure there is a way to avoid that if you're not a terrible farmer like me. See, I was looking at the mower there, thinking I was straight instead of looking at the tractor. That's what I did there. I've gone over myself a little bit there. So this is our fourth different type of contract that we've done. We did a harvesting of a grain, we did a fertilising, and we did a sowing of a root vegetable in potatoes. Now a little bit of mowing and baling. Pretty hefty ridge there. As it starts to get dark, as we sort of draw to a close on day 2. Feels like it's been a full and productive day, certainly information wise, if a touch disappointing income wise. But I feel like we've learned some more, which is what we're about at this point. Will we track all these jobs forever? No. Will we track the cost per acre of the map over and over? No. So a lot of this stuff, it's just about gathering the information and then, acting on what we've learned, giving ourselves a plan as to how we're going to prioritise our time going forward. And are we, in essence, cracking the game? Are we reducing the enjoyment that we'll get going forward by, stripping it down to its nuts and bolts? Well, no, because all the maps have different sizes, different prices for the land, and they also have different prices for the crops, and I believe different prices for the various contracts. And then that's before even the modding community gets their hands on it and sort of customises all those elements and more themselves. So no, we're not will our second farm, third farm, fourth farm probably get off to a bit better start because we have some information to go by? Yep, sure. But we are, we're not min-maxing. We won't crack the game. We won't crack the code of what makes the perfect farm, because I don't believe that's even possible, because there's just too many ways to go about it. So being a complete rookie to the franchise, I'm just trying to gather up as much information as I can and use that as best I can. There still will be leaps of faith, I'm sure. It gets darker. 20 to 8. Just want to try and get this finished. There's another beautiful sunset. $15 minutes, 14 minutes to go. Come on. I don't really know how accurate I have to be with this because I have to cut it, windrow it, bale it, and then deliver it down to the, actually I'm not too sure where we're delivering it, but with each step in the process it's another opportunity for me to suffer a bit of wastage, so I'd hate to not end up with enough to complete the contract off. I think I've got it all there, so I'll just finish this last little bit down the end here. Right, that looks like about it. So there we go. Knock off time, day 2, Estancia, Lapacho. There we go, just going to leave this here, wait for the morning, and drive ourselves back to the shop. There we go. Check for the train. I can't remember if it's been passed recently or not. No. F for headlights, there we go, better headlights. Good. Yeah, so I wonder with that mower if that's one that drags directly along behind, which some people might find it's a shorter working width, but some people might find that easier to work with, I think. So maybe that's the difference. That'd be my guess as it stands currently anyway. Alright, I'm just going to park it over here for the night. Engine off. Alright, there we go. 8:02. We've timed that really, really well. So that's the end of our working in the field time. If we had our own farm, obviously we'd still be able to do jobs around the farm, transporting contracts if we had the right equipment for that. But I have just had a thought, and I don't know why I do this to myself. Seeing that silo sitting out there, when you look at the map and you bring it up to the purchase sort of area, you click on these things, it gives you a price. And we've been tracking the acreage of the actual field to try and work out what might be a good spot to start. there are some areas that don't have any fields currently mowed into them, and I haven't really been tracking those. There's another one here, because there's no way to tell the area. What I have just thought of though is, see that there, that's where that silo is. Now you don't get that with field 27 because it's not highlighted, but some of these, for instance, have structures on them. Now what's that? That's some sort of a shed perhaps? What about up here? There's no field here, but what are all those buildings? Now they're included in the price. So although it may not have a field, it may have buildings which are going to represent a saving. See, there's another shed there. This field here looks like it comes with a shed. This here, that's not a field. Some sort of car park maybe, but it comes with a shed. Field 1 here comes with all these buildings. What are they, silos here? So given that you need to buy buildings for your shed once you get set up, how much are you going to save buying one of these? I mean, here looks like a couple of sheds. You don't get the lumber mill, but looks like a couple of sheds here. Field 26 looks like a shed. And if you look, we are at the shop, so we'll just duck into the shop. And I mean, obviously from here until midnight is just light duties. So, you know, I have used it previously for entering into the spreadsheet and such, and I do have more to enter in there, obviously. But if we look here at some of the buildings, there's a high pressure sprayer, there's a vehicle workshop. I mean, some of them have a vehicle workshop. Well, that's saving you 28,000. Are those silos, or is that saving you 110,000 or 180,000 or 90,000? You know, the sheds, is that what's there already? Is it saving you 9,000? Is it saving you 22,000? Is it saving you, you know, 32,000? Because they're already there. That's a mod. I haven't downloaded any mods. So does that need to be taken into consideration? Is it okay? I get it, because it's for this map. So that's the farmhouse for this map. So really, that's saving you $350,000 by buying field 1. Although the price is 500 and something thousand, it's saving you 350,000 from your house, and you can sleep in the house. It's not just decorative. You can accelerate through the night, or accelerate through however much time you like, because you have a house. So just to really annoy myself and make things even more a little bit complicated, that's something else to take into consideration. So I'm just going to check the contracts off here. Is there any new fields? When was the last one we checked? 7. So 13, 21, 17, are they new? 13, no. 21, no. 17, no. 14, 12, 11, are they new? 14, no. 12, no. 11, no. So no new fields. So I think we're still missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Still missing the information on 8 fields. Maybe they'll come in over the course of the night. So we're 20% done. We've mowed it all, and we're 20% done. We started at 3:27, but I need to manually check the video afterwards to see when we stopped. So I need to do that after we finish. So what I really need to do is I really need to go for a drive. I really need to go for a drive around and see what is actually on that land as far as placeables go. So that's what I'm going to do for a little bit in the light duties time this evening. If that's not something you interested in seeing, totally understand. That's probably the place for you to jump off the video now. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on day 3. Thanks for watching. Alright, but for those who are still here, bring up the map, and we are at the shop. So I'm just going to have to open up the bigger map and just sort of remember which places we want to check out, what's got sheds and stuff. So just here on the corner of that field there, what's that? And then we're going to go, actually that's the railway line, don't drive on the railway line. No, I think the road does curve down there past that. Then back up to the track, and I want to see what's up here. This corner up here really interests me. There's a shed there with a field, which is, we can afford it, and then there's a big whack of sheds here with no field, which is expensive parcel of land, but I want to know what that land, what those structures are, and then back out over the bridge and we'll check these structures here. Again, very expensive parcel of land, but right next to the sawmill and a couple of structures, so that's what we'll do first. Seems to just be one big convoy going round and round and round the island, which is not super realistic. Cruise control on. Alright, so just in this corner somewhere, it looked like a concrete slab or a building or something, but I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it at all. Just on this side of the track maybe? No, not seeing it. Might just be something on the map that's not actually there. So we're going to go up to that top corner, which I really want to look at. Oh, cruise control on again. No train. Bounce. So equipment there for the morning. Nope. Is that not where the road goes? Oh, it's a train track, that's right. Don't drive on the train track, I wonder if I follow that jump past there. Yep, here we go. I want to follow the river until we get to the bridge and take the bridge off to the right. Cruise control again. Every time you touch the accelerator or brake, it takes you off the cruise. That hoot of an owl there I just heard. Right, so across the bridge. Not sure you want to be taking too much machinery across that. Wow, would you get your harvester across that? Interesting. Alright, so is this the two things on field 26? Yeah, so there's that structure there. So what is it? Some sort of a little house. You know, if you own it, can you sleep there? Probably, I'd say. And a silo or a storage, possibly, but it doesn't really look like it's got a spout anywhere coming out. And a bit of a well. It's a bit of it looks like it's got a ladder up. It doesn't really have a spout, so I'm not sure if that's a usable silo or whether it's just a decorative silo. I'm thinking decorative. I think you should be able to use the house though. My guess is you'd be able to use the house and sort of use this as the base castle. Use this as your base, that sounds say. Ruinas, not sure. Oh, well, that's probably why, because there's a bunch of ruins. So, this is obviously just decorative, but would this be a cool place to start your farm around? I mean, I was more thinking it was going to be sheds and usable things. I mean, I think, imagine this actually might be a usable house. Like this is the usable house part of it, maybe. So that still sort of counts as a house. Don't say. But if you own it, do you get to use it? Tough to say. So a bit more. Is it just all this ruins? There's a car there, so someone can live somewhere. Alright, I'm just going to duck away for a moment. Oh, no. I'm just going to duck away.